allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Arms. Oath. Right face. Forward arch.
Before we sit down, could we stand for just a moment to recognize our 39th president? Thank you very much. Louise, want to do roll call?
Al,
Present.
Terry,
Present.
Michelle. Here. Kate.
Here.
Gladys.
Here.
Lauren.
Here.
Rita.
Here.
Richard.
Here.
Julie.
Here.
Thank you, Louisa. Now we will have the script for our public participation.
The board welcomes public participation and asks that speakers please limit their comments to 3 minutes. Speakers may offer objective comments of school operations and programs that concern them. The board will not permit any expression of personal complaints or defamatory comments about Board of Education personnel, students, nor against any person connected with the Danbury Public School System.
Thank you, Ron. Did anyone want to speak before the board tonight? We'll move on down to Kate. Could I have the consent calendar?
I'll make a motion that the Board of Education approve the consent calendar exhibits 25-01 through 25-04 as recommended and in accordance with the exhibits listed.
Kate made the motion. Could I hear a second?
A second.
Al? Any questions concerning the consent calendar? Any corrections to be made? Seeing none, all in favor, could I hear aye?
Aye.
Opposed? I have. Do we have anyone on our education staff? No. Oh.
Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. It's nice to see you all. You haven't seen me in a while, and so I have 3 quick things to talk to you tonight about. The main reason you haven't seen me in a while is because I want to give a personal compliment to our superintendent. I haven't needed to come here because we've been able to solve a lot of our issues and things of concern without having to come to this forum. She's been such a great communicator, and I really just want to extend our appreciation for just being such an amazing communicator. And even when we don't agree or we don't solve a problem, we're working towards it. So it's been a really positive few months. I also brought a friend with me tonight. I'm here to introduce our new vice president of the Teachers Union, Julian Schaefer. Julian is a teacher at Danbury High School. He's been teaching for 10 years, social studies, and he was appointed to fill out Tom Ross's vice president term for the remainder. So we've got him for 1 more year, and then we'll both be up for re-election. So I wanted to introduce you and give him a moment to just say hello to you.
There you go. Really honored to have this position. I really look forward to working with everybody here. I know, our interests are we want what's best for our students in these schools, and I really look forward to working with you all on that. So,
Julian has a deep background in advocacy and working for social justice issues and some very important issues in community-centered issues, so his background is very deep. So we're happy to have him on board, and we know he's going to bring his enthusiasm and his excitement to our executive board team. And that brings me to our number 3 issue for tonight, which is the one I'm sure you've all been talking about, which is our budget process, that we will be joining in with you on that process for the next several months. We just wanted to come to this forum and kind of let you all know that our intent is to really work with you on this process and to be working in partnership. We think that's the best way to go about it. So we want to join you at City Hall. We want to join you at the Capitol for lobbying for money. We want to join you in all of those processes that will help our district. Rather than come at it from, an us against them perspective, we really think that it's best if we team our efforts, and we can bring a lot of people behind us if we work together and get this done. I know we have a big mission ahead of us, opening a new school, and I know the ask is great, but we also know we really want to keep all of our very valuable assets, our teaching staff, in Danbury, working for Danbury and working for our students. So I just want to encourage us to keep that line of communication open in the next few months, and please reach out to me with your questions. And we're happy to invite you to talk with us at our executive board, or even come and join us at one of our rep council meetings if you'd like. And the superintendent has made a great effort. She's going to be coming and listening to some concerns of our members next week, which we're very happy, and our members are excited about that. Thank you so much, and again, Happy New Year. Short and sweet, right? Yeah, we're going to say that.
Thank you, Aaron, and thank you for bringing the young man Julian so that we could meet him. And thank you for those inspiring words. 2025 is going to get off good. Okay? Thank you. So now we have our student reps.
Hello, my name is Ariana West.
And I'm Holly Stabell. Good evening, Board of Ed members, Cabinet and community members. Thank you for allowing me to represent and speak on behalf of the Alternative Center for Excellence. Our first point tonight is Melissa Lasky in the ACE Journalism class. They would like to invite you all to check out our first articles of the school year in the Alternative Times. The Alternative Times can be accessed at acealternativetimes.com and on Twitter at AceALTimes. My second point is last night, ACE held a mid-year parent-teacher conferences. Last night began as a whole group to communicate whole school goals and expectations. As we hear about upcoming student opportunities and events, parents and students were able to follow their students' schedule, meet individually with teachers, and talk about goal setting, progress, and intervention strategies.
During the first week of the second semester, the ACE staff and students will hold a special ACE March Gardens, with the goal being the announcements of our January award winners, as well as public recognition and celebration of our January graduates. Our January graduates will remain part of the senior Google Classroom in order to participate in senior activities in spring, as well as prepare to participate in June graduation ceremonies. We are currently setting up interviews for the 21 students who visited ACE, so they can begin attending ACE at the start of semester 2. Students are also still visiting this week and next week. Visitors at ACE are hosted by our ACE ambassadors. Our ACE ambassador program is led by Daniela, Melissa, Katya, and Diana. The Cultural Alliance of Western Connecticut has awarded a grant to Brookfield Craft Center for ACE students to participate in 2 after-school sessions. Each session will last a month. Session 1 includes metalsmithing, jewelry making, and nature print making. This session begins January 15th. Session 2 includes mosaic fused glass making, embroidery, and sashiko stitching. This session will begin on March 5th. A special thanks to Anthony Hellman for leading this effort, transporting the students in the ACE van, and participating in the sessions with the students. Thank you for allowing us to share what is going on with our ACE family and make ACE strong.
And thank you.
Yes.
Before you leave, is there anything special happening coming up anytime soon for someone at the table? Any other way?
I graduate the 24th of January.
Congratulations.
I'm Ari's guidance teacher at ACE, and I wanted to come and thank you so much for doing so many wonderful things at ACE and being a leader, an ambassador, and a board member. So thank you and congrats.
Bright future ahead of you. Thank you. No, it's-
So we move on down the agenda. Community Relations Committee.
So currently, our next meeting is scheduled for February 12th. It's likely we're going to try and call a meeting before then, but we are waiting, as everybody is, to get some more information about the budget process before we move forward.
Curriculum.
We have a meeting scheduled for the end of February, and I've already reported on our meeting that we've already had.
Thank you. Just want to remind the chairpersons of our committee, if you feel like you need an additional meeting, please let me know before we go ahead and set it up with our liaison, and make sure that everybody is available. But we can also have an additional meeting beside your regular meeting if you see need. Okay?
Excellent.
Okay.
Thank you.
Finance? Is Mr. Janelle on?
Yes.
Yes, put me to say Wednesday, because I have finance meeting.
Policy?
Our next policy meeting is scheduled for February 5th. If it's possible, we may try to get a meeting in January, but Board Cooper and I are having conversations about that. So.
Okay. Sites and facilities?
We just had our last sites meeting before this meeting. Sorry that it ran over a little bit. We had went over a couple of action items that we'll be talking about during this particular meeting, and also we went over a lot of list of repairs and things that have been done and are in the process of being done within the school district. So a lot of progress being made. We're in the process of finalizing our schedule of meetings for this year, so that is to be determined.
Thank you. Action item A. Michelle?
Education specifications, Elmsworth Avenue School roof replacement. Motion that the Board of Education approve the educational specifications dated December 17, 2024. The correction there. For the Ellsworth Avenue School report replacement as recommended by the Sites and Facilities Committee and in accordance with 25-05.
Michelle made the motion. Could I hear a second?
Second.
Al, any discussion concerning the motion? Seeing none, all in favor, could I hear aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion so carried. Action item B. Teresa?
Education specifications Haystown Avenue elevator installation. Motion that the Board of Education approve the educational specifications dated December 17, 2024 for the Haystown Avenue School elevator addition as recommended by the Sites and Facilities Committee and in accordance with 25-06.
Motion made by Teresa.
Second.
I hear a second.
Second.
Julie? Any opposes? No, motions? I couldn't see your face, Julie. I'm sorry. Okay. Motion made by Teresa, second by Julie. Any question concerning the motion? No? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Motion so carried. Okay. Superintendent's report.
Hey, good evening. Bear with me, I'm a little cold, so. I'd like to welcome tonight Angela Smith. Angela, if you can come up to the table and I'll talk a little bit about why you're here tonight. Angela is a wonderful teacher at the high school, and we have some students and helpers in tow here. This is wonderful. And you know, as part of our strategic goal to help continue to build our career pathways, Angela has begun a program called Ed Rising. It's a program that the state of Connecticut is supporting, and we recently won some grant money to support it, but I will let Angela tell you all about it, but this goes in line with the development of our academy pathways.
And thank you for having me and my accolades of teammates here. A couple of months ago at the beginning of the school year, I had students that were interested in education, but they just didn't have enough space in my classes. So I'm teaching education and child development, where we run our preschool and we have our daycare at the school. And there was so much of a need and a want to, but there wasn't enough spaces for students. And even if we expanded, we still had students who were like, I want to be a teacher, but other curriculum was kind of filling that time. And so with that need, I was like, there's got to be a way that we can help these kids. I know as somebody who's been in education for many years, that our need for teachers is great. And if we have students who want to become teachers, and we have such a need, especially in our district, for Danbury to have such a diverse population, to have a lack of teachers, when we have so many willing participants and good-hearted students that want to join this profession, to kind of join with us. And so I kind of came up with this idea, started running it with a couple of students and said, hey, who's interested? I had about 8 students that messaged me and said, hey, we're interested and would like to be leaders in this and help you build this. And from there, we kind of started this. I think our very first meeting was right before homecoming, and I happened to see Dr. Casimira in the gym as I was decorating and told her about it, and had no idea that it was going to take off the way it has. We did have an article published in the Danbury News Times last week, and so it's been a great way to kind of get the word out. We have about 40 student members who have been actively involved. And as it started to grow, I kind of sought out some assistance with this because I knew, like, hey, this is a great endeavor. But for us to be strong together in true Danbury fashion, we have to come together as a team. And so Amy Rojic, who is my counterpart, who also teaches Birth Through 2 and the prerequisite courses in our academy, kind of sat down together and said, hey, this is something we can definitely make. We both are passionate about education. We want to see the changes, and we want to make something amazing for our students. And so I brought Ms. Rojic along with me to kind of talk about some of the things that she's worked with me with.
Hi, everybody. So a little bit about the benefits of this club, and we have some slides that do support some of the things we're talking about as well. This is a nationally recognized organization. If you think about something like NHS, every high school has a National Honor Society. This is something similar, but there's chapters in many high schools, and so there's a lot of recognition that comes with being a member of this club. And so there are scholarship opportunities for our seniors. There are lots of networking abilities, both in our local government and up to our national government. And then the biggest thing that I want to kind of align with the benefits are our conference and competitions that are coming up, that there are so many opportunities to showcase the work that our students so much want to not only involve in our Danbury school, but in schools throughout the country. And this is an opportunity that will put them on a national stage to see truly all of their work and all of their innovative ideas. We really want this retention of Danbury students becoming Danbury teachers, so making sure that, you know, the kids that are involved truly benefit from this club really matches well with our academy. I'm the academy lead for our professional and public service, so I work very closely with our education track. And so it's very fitting that, Angela and I are here to represent the incredible leaders that we have. So I do want to share the microphone with our 2 student representatives. So I'm going to give the mic to Sarah, who's going to talk a little bit more about the involvement directly that the students are going to experience.
Hello, my name is Sarah. I'm the president of Educators Rising Club, and I'm extremely honored to be here to talk with everyone today. So, as a club, we're extremely focused on helping develop stronger teachers within our own numbers, but also giving back to the community that helped inspire us to become educators in the future. So, one of the areas we're really focused on is we want to create connections with local schools in our area. We had this idea that our members would adopt a school, and we would hold like fundraising events and book and supply drives to kind of create that connection so that not only we are becoming familiar with teachers and students in our area, but also they're becoming familiar with us and how we are teaching in our own environment. Another one of our really big ideas are parents' nights out. So along the same lines, we're really interested in kind of giving back to our community. We understand that the parents in our community are extremely hardworking and deserve a little bit of free time. So these would be opportunities where they could drop their kids off at DHS for a small fee, and we could not only practice our own teaching techniques and mechanisms and learn really important information, but also we can kind of create that ability to give the parents a little bit of a break. Another really big area we talk about is teacher appreciation. The staff in our area who we have had the opportunity to be taught by are so amazing, and they are really the people that have inspired us to have our future careers in education. So we really want to make sure that we're showing our appreciation to them. We're planning on doing like fun potlucks and banquets for teachers whenever there's professional development and they have to stay a little bit later, because we understand how much hard work our teachers put in. And then we also want to orchestrate an event where students can send letters and notes to their teachers that they're grateful for, so that not only us as a club is showing our appreciation, but we kind of create that feeling of appreciation for our entire school. And then I know Georgia kind of talked about our national conference a little bit, but we're very, very excited about it. It's in Orlando, Florida, and we're really excited about the opportunity to be able to not only go and learn new things, but have the Danbury Educators Rising representatives on that large scale, and to meet new people and learn new things. We do understand that that is a financial undertaking, but we have started doing some funding of our own, and we have our class treasurer here to talk a little bit more about fundraising. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Olivia. I'm the treasurer of this club. So as Sarah said, we have started our own funding with bake sales, and we plan on doing more fundraisers like around the community to raise money for our club. We do have the ESSER grant that is helping our club, but we do need more for our conference. And in order for us to travel to Florida, we would need an estimation of $10,000. We would be really grateful for the money. We do plan on keeping our funding going just so we're not losing all of our money.
Now, I wanted to bring these young students, because I tell everybody, if there's ever a day that you're questioning, like, why are we in education, the state of education today, come and spend 10 minutes in one of these meetings. Listen to these students. These aren't my ideas that I'm kind of plugging in or Ms. projects. We listen to these kids and we hear them. Part of my class, I had them go and observe teachers, and they come back and they're like, hey, we see issues, and instead of saying, oh, there's a problem, and sitting down and complaining, like a lot of people tend to get comfortable doing, these kids are coming up with ideas. How can we deal with cell phone policies? How can we deal with teacher retention? What do? We don't have enough tutors. We don't have enough interpreters. How can we help teachers? How can we provide this in the future? And to see these kids come up with these ideas and see this need and want to get back to their community, not just kind of say, oh, well, that's a problem, somebody needs to fix it, or they need more money. These kids are wanting to do that. even the money that we're trying to raise, a lot of that comes because it's not just that we want to go to conference, but they're also raising money so we can do things because they want to show their appreciation and show the community how much they are important and that they are valued. And so it's a great honor to be able to work with these kids and so to let you see their amazing contributions to this club as well is just amazing. So we have our daycare, our preschool program that works at Danbury High School that will be starting at the end of this month. So if you know anyone with a 3 to 5 year old who is interested in a nursery school program, please have no hesitation contacting me and get you information because these are 2 of the many amazing students that will be teaching these students and the work and effort that they put into becoming the future teachers and to build students in the young population in Danbury is just amazing. We host a forum. This is my 2nd year of doing the program, and last year I hosted a forum. I was grateful to have several of you come, and I opened the invitation to all of you on the board as well to come and talk to all of my students and club members about education, what you see the need to be, and how they can contribute. Currently, we have nurses, psychologists at the school, therapists, some of our admin. Ms. Kate Gustis is coming to speak on special ed. She spoke last year, and the number of students that came up after and said, hey, I want to be a special ed teacher now, it's just amazing because that's a very hard to fill area. And when she spoke, she lit a fire in several of these students, several of them who are now in college majoring in special education. And so Dr. Casimir, it was the day after she had been appointed, and to hear the kids go, oh my God, that was the superintendent, she cared enough to come and talk to us. And Ms. Buzze, she wrote a book, like somebody in our town did this. So it was amazing to see. And so we've turned it into a full day event. We have an author coming in, talking about different aspects they can contribute and work on their competition skills as well as just become better educators from here. So thank you again for the opportunity to share.
Well, I want to thank all of you. I don't know if there's any questions, but thank you so much for coming tonight. And the bureau chief of the state of Connecticut is super excited that we have opened up a chapter, and there's a lot of scholarships attached to this for kids. There's tremendous opportunity. I didn't mention a paraprofessional loop to this, that the goal is to get our own students certified to become paraprofessionals, to loop back in to work for our system. It's also an area, a shortage area. So again, fulfilling local need with some of the wonderful things that the kids are going to be doing. So thank you all for coming tonight. Thank you so much. And students, you spoke so eloquently. Nice job.
President Porter has any questions? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you.
Okay. The next update is about Magnet School. So I had Dr. Rocco here tonight to help give us a little bit of an update. I wanted to talk a little bit about some concerns that we have moving forward. As you know, last year we were on a corrective action plan for the ratio in our numbers, and this year we were heading in a good direction. We got a notice from the state. Our numbers were slightly off from their numbers, and so they flagged us again. We have since contacted them, provided data that showed that we were in fact in compliance, but we are marginally there. And we've been doing a lot of talking about how to increase the recruitment, how to increase more exposure to the school, and so the principal that's there now has done a tremendous job in the last couple of months, really pounding the street to go out to different, she's been to the Board of Ed in Brookfield, she's been to several places, she's reaching out in the community at sports events, but we're still struggling to get a draw from the surrounding school districts and our participating districts. So it's a bit of a problem. Over time, not only are we losing that immediate tuition dollars, but the lack of enrollment could affect our Magnet grant, and that's the grant that supports the staff that's there. And so we're not trying to raise the red flag and alarm on that by any stretch, but down the road, once we've lost a kindergarten, that now we have 2, we've had 3 kindergartens, now we're down to 2. That 2 rolls up to first grade, now we're down to first grade, and that pattern continues all the way through 5th grade, which leaves the school under-enrolled, right? Now here we are bursting at the seams with most of our other elementary schools, and so to have one of our newest buildings under-enrolled or continue to potentially be under-enrolled is problematic. So we've been meeting to try to brainstorm some different ideas, and we'll continue to bring some of those to you in the future. Dr. Archer, can you give us a little bit of an update on sort of the numbers and where we're at, any other information that you might have that's pertinent?
Sure, so we do have, this is on again here.
Thank you. I do have the numbers currently for this year. As Dr. Casimiro mentioned, we did get flagged by the state. They had our numbers at 76% Denver enrollment. We cannot exceed 75%, but what we discovered were there was just some coding errors, and those discrepancies were corrected, so we'll be in contact with the state to rectify that and get our numbers back in alignment with them. Again, they were just coding errors, and we corrected the system that caused the coding errors, so that should not happen again. We currently have 90 out-of-district students enrolled in the magnet school with 237 Denver students for a total of 327 overall. We have seen approximately 15 students leave the school this year, which is always why we can't get right to that 75% because there is some fluidity in the numbers, and it just takes one out-of-district student to leave to tip that percentage. So we have to be very cautious about the enrollment and keeping it very tight as we begin the enrollment process, which we are in the process of now. The lottery opened on January 6th, which was this past Monday. As of the close of the day today, there were 349 applicants for seats. The majority of those 328 were Danbury students. I am pleased that there were 21 out-of-district students, which is higher than what we had at this time last year. So that's a positive for us, and I'm very optimistic about it. We are in our people who have registered online for the lottery are again from our 2 districts that we have held waiting lists on for the last several years. That they are at their maximum seats. So we have these waiting lists for them, but they are limiting the seats that they are allowing. So Dr. Casimiro had worked with one of those districts last year to get them to let additional students come and work out a tuition agreement with them. So that was, we were able to increase that population of students by 10, which allowed us to bring Danbury students in. So it was that negotiating that allowed us to get Danbury students entered this past year. We will lose about 15 students exiting 5th grade at the end of this school year from out of town, so we will fill those 15 seats first, and then we'll go from there to fill the remaining seats from out of town students. The lottery will officially close on the 20th. But as we did last year, we did keep it fluid end date for out-of-town residents who wanted to apply. So we did continue to enroll out-of-town students because the school is under-enrolled. We have the capability of doing that, and we want to increase our out-of-town students. Mrs. Jackson has been doing a phenomenal job this year of outreach to community members. She has visited daycare centers in surrounding towns. She's met with the directors of those daycare centers. She has had them distribute materials to the families who are attending at the daycare centers. She is hosting open houses regularly at AIS. She is attending the events at the Police Athletic League, our Cal building here in town for that when they host multi-town sports events and handing out materials at those events. Dr. Seelig has worked again to produce a video for the school that's running on social media platforms. That's going to be playing regularly. Facebook soon.
Facebook now.
YouTube soon.
YouTube
soon. So we are in a full blast of recruitment. And I'm hopeful that we can reach more towns and bring enrollment up again.
And I'm just gonna add one thing to that. We started to have some conversations around the need for recruitment in general in the school system, teachers, the magnet programs, lotteries. So, you know, when we start to talk about the budget, you'll see some requests in there for some dedicated recruitment efforts. It's wonderful that the principal is out doing all of those things, but it's also quite a lot, and we need some focused efforts so that we can keep the magnet program right where it is and maximize it. Thank you.
Any questions from board members? Well, thank you, Dr.
Good night, thank you guys. Okay, the school building committee, it's just a notification that we have, and there's an ad hoc committee for the city of Danbury that will be attending as part of that ad hoc committee on January 13th at City Hall. You know, we are, last year we started, during the budget season, this kind of came about as during the budget process, where we talked about the conditions of the schools, the needs that we have for all kinds of things. Facilities came up quite a bit during that. And so there was a healthy conversation about the need to do something more than just meet, you know, have a budget presentation, talk about it, get aggravated once a year, and then go back to our boxes. So there was a nice reach out across the aisle to collaborate to build a way forward. So the ad hoc committee is designed to come up with a plan to address some of the school facilities issues and other issues related to some of our shared maintenance and problems that we've had in the past. So there was a good meeting in July that kicked off that seems promising in our next meeting, where I hope, you know, a more substantive conversation about our needs and really helping the school system to have modernized learning facilities and to partner with the city to get that done over not just the short term, but also the long haul. So that is the 13th, and I look forward to attending that. Budget timeline. I'm going to start to run out of voice in a second, so real quick. I'm going to turn this over to you, Mike Weaver, in a second. I did provide an update to the board, but we'll have an initial budget overview presentation to the Finance Committee on 1/15. We're hoping to do a budget workshop with the board on 1/21. We would love to get the budget adopted by 1/22, but that's very tight. But we have a lot of backup dates in between that we can bump in. So we're going to try to aim for that goal. And then the budget is due to the mayor's office on June 13. So we're gonna, you know, hopefully we will, the next month or so will be very kind of tight and hectic. In between all of that, 1/22 I think is gonna, you know, we originally put the dates out. That was our hope, but I think we're gonna have some time that we're gonna need for the workshop. But we have a backup hold on our calendar for 1/29 for another budget workshop if needed. So we continue to need to dialogue around that. We can do that. We can also call a special meeting then to adopt prior to 2/13 if we want. So it's flexible at this point, but our goalposts were 1/15 for the Finance Committee, 1/21 for the workshop. The target was 1/22 for the budget adoption, and 2/13 for the budget due to the mayor's office. But we have a lot of work to do in between all that. So I'll let Mike talk a little bit about some of the tremendous work happening in the background. We're trying to build a budget that is a little bit different, so that's very detailed and will help us make better projections in the future. And there's a lot of movement happening behind the scenes, and Mike is responsible for that. Before I kick it over to you, I just want to congratulate you again. I don't know if the board knows, but Mike has a new addition to his family. And he had a baby girl just not too long ago, so he's been a very busy person. So I can kick it over to you.
Thank you, Karen. Yeah, so our timeline comparatively to last year, it looks a little compressed, but our goal in this budget process was to produce a budget that, you know, comparatively to previous years is airtight to provide a budget by location, which is something that really hasn't been done before. Our system had the ability to do it, but it wasn't done. One of the grants that we submitted for this year required actually us to submit the budget by location, which is something new. And I think that that's probably something that's going to continue probably in other grants. So we want to get ahead of that and start that this year. As well as, Carrie, I know that you have meetings with the state and you look very often at the cost per location, and it looked like the numbers might have been skewed a little bit. And so what I did is I downloaded all the data for the past few years and put together a by location budget according to the budget policy. So we have the 24 budget and actual, as well as the 25 budget and actual where we stand. And the great thing about that is not only were we able to do it by budget, but we now have identified the folks that are in charge of those areas, right? Those, we call them DACs, at those locations. And that afforded us the opportunity to get something that we've never had before, and that's ground level intelligence. So it's working with the site leaders, understanding what their needs and their wants are. It's not just a budget, well, that's what we budgeted last year. That's not good enough, right? We wanted a detailed, comprehensive budget delivered to you, especially because the timeline is going to be so short.
Thank you. I just want to, I would hope to have something to you already, but again, the movement behind the scenes and the back end of our financial system, there's been a lot of movement and cleanup, and when I say cleanup, it's really just alignment between all of our systems that needed to happen. It's a lot of work, so I just want to thank you and your team, and it kind of came at a time of making a decision on to go and to utilize this, go to this direction at the same time as all of the audits and the things that were kind of really taxing the office. So I just want to say thank you, and we look forward, and I know the board will look forward to seeing what that looks like. And the budget by location, it's important for me, for us, for you, for the city too, to understand kind of how certain resources impact certain schools, certain buildings, by number, by need. Why does one school have a higher number, the enrollment looks a certain way, looks similar? Is it because of the population that's in the school? And it tells a story when you build a budget by location, and it helps to clarify, it helps people like me and department leads to plan for the needs of the school, but also to communicate what's going on. And so it's going to be, I think, important for us moving forward. It's not certainly a cutting edge idea anywhere else, but certainly for here, I think it's going to be very helpful. So thank you for all your work on that.
Yeah, thank you. And we have all the, excited to say we have all the work papers behind the numbers, so we know exactly what is in. This is by line item as well. We know exactly what is in each line item. And then the good thing about that is going forward into fiscal year 26, we can do things like have a variance analysis. So if we are a little bit off of budget, we'll know exactly why, right down to the very line item. So it's exciting.
Yeah. Thank you. Question? Good. Let's sit right along here. Thank you, Mike. The last couple ones are relatively quick. I think I did email the board that I'm going to be starting a little bit of a superintendent video series, and that's really just a fancy way to say we're going to get a YouTube videos going to start sharing some of the good news that's happening across the district. So we'll do a leadership series, and we'll do a teacher series, an educator series. So we're celebrating any innovation that's happening, good practice, good work, and certainly when we have things to celebrate, that we make sure that we're communicating those widely, and maybe combat some of the negative press paper sometimes that we get. There's so many good things that do happen here. There's a lot of people that are working very hard, so it's nice to kind of stop for a moment, talk to those folks, and make sure that's communicated widely across the community. So that'll be starting up in February. The next item is the Board of Education Superintendent Staff Survey. So we had a great conversation about the need to survey staff to get a sense about what's going on with climate. And the board is very interested in climate, very interested in what the needs are of the teachers and the staff and the administrators. And as a team, we developed some questions together. And thank you, Al, kind of got us sparked with some questions that he had going, and the team refined those. So we'll be sending that out from the school system on the 13th of January. We're going to go to all the educational staff, and we look forward to seeing what that is. And the questions are all along the lines of understanding what our strengths are, our areas that we need to improve, some of the budget priorities, and things that we can do to get better. So it's really about improvement. So we look forward to that. We'll be sending I'll be sending a budget questionnaire to the community, to the parents, to see what their priorities are. We've done that in the past. So that'll go out maybe about a week later, not to confuse folks, for the parents, for the teachers who are also parents. So we'll try to separate that out a little bit. And then the last item is the calendar revision. So someone brought to our attention that Rosh Hashanah's been off. Rosh Hashanah starts on the evening of September 22nd and the 25th, 26th. And so we have that date indicated, but really the day that's of acknowledgement is the next day, the 23rd. Once we put that calendar in front of cabinet and started talking about some other changes that we want to take to a second past that. Around some of the holidays and do a second review. And everybody always scrutinizes that first calendar pretty intensely, because that's the first one that's going to come out 2 years out. Now we're looking a little bit more at that 25, 26. So we're going to give that another pass, and we'll be coming back to the board with some suggestions to consider. And I lied, I did say that was the last one. I did want to mention, it didn't make it for the cut on the agenda, but the Power School breach, I did send out some notifications on that. I don't think it's a super critical breach that anyone has to worry about. There's no sensitive information. By sensitive, I mean social security information and things like that, which is always the one that people worry about. And so just for anybody out there who didn't know what happened, we were notified that one of our vendors of our student support, our student information system vendor, Power School, were breached. We were not breached through the Dearborn School System. The company, Power School, was breached through one of their portals. And they accessed, whoever it was, accessed what we call tables inside the system. And the tables have some information about the users. And it was a very limited section that was accessed, and we don't load ultra-sensitive information in there. It's kind of the basics, which were sent out and identified in the letter that was sent out. So we're working with them. We're going to learn more about the nature of it. If something comes more than what we've learned today, we're certainly going to notify the staff and the community and any next steps that we might have to take. But that's all we have for now. Just want to make sure we got that information out to everybody as quickly as possible.
How do we change the password?
So on Power School, if you're a Power School user, you go to the user profile and it just says change password. And actually in the breach, they did not access the password. So technically the passwords were not accessed, but you should change them anyways if you have a Power School account.
I just want to make sure that when we send out the survey, that it's anonymous response.
It is anonymous. We're not even collecting information by level, teacher or administrator, so it'll be pretty generic.
I know that I know the district that I work in, the Board of Education did that. That's where I came up with the idea, and they did make some changes in the process of hearing all the staff, and it's just not educators, but the custodians, the maintenance people, and all that. We want to hear. For myself, and I think the board feels the same way. Is we want to see. We know there's some concerns out there. And I think collectively, if we put all these concerns together, I think the board can come up with some recommendations and policy changes if it needs to be done. And so we know that a lot of it is going to be funded directed. So we're going to have to work with the city to make sure that we get our stuff. But I think I look forward to hearing feedback from the staff and see what's out there. Thank you.
When is that going out?
The 13th. January 13th.
When would you expect it back?
Well, we'll give it a couple days. We'll give folks a chance to reply, so probably about a week, and then we'll take a look at it when it comes back and share with the board. It's going to have to be. It's pretty open-ended, so it'll have to be codified really for patterns and themes. Just take a little bit of work, but
No question. My comments are very brief as board chair. I had a list of 8, but, I've cut it down. We'll talk about that at the next meeting, okay? Since it started on such a good, positive way in 2025. First of all, I want to thank Al for bringing the survey to the board. And I want to thank the board members that participated in giving their suggestions. And those that didn't, you read up and then you decided that, okay, that was part of my question I was going to ask you. So I want to thank you, Al, for bringing that to us. And we finally got it out. So we're going to get it out on the 13th. Okay? So that's one achievement that the board did last year. Okay? The second thing that we did, and at the next meeting, is we're going to make a motion to implement our board goals that we developed as a board. So when you got the paper and you don't have it with you, call Carol so you can read it good and we discuss it at our next board meeting and accept those goals. Okay? Lastly, I know that we are going to work together good, as we did the previous year. No matter if we don't understand one another, we talk it out. And we worked together last year to do several things, and I'm looking forward to working together with you all again. So, on top of that, I have nothing else to say.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion made by Al.
second.
Second.